Welcome back, everyone. It's here. And today I've got some r/BestOf for you all. As per usual, I'll be reading you the posts, giving you my opinions, and I hope you do the same down in the comments below. And without further ado, let's jump right into it. Wait. Before we start, does this interest you? This distinguished gentleman is now live on Makeshift.com for a grand total of $30. Link in the description below. Make sure you snag one before the time expires because it's not coming back. By the possums, 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 by the possums. Now to your regularly scheduled program. This post was collected by JSMK, and their tagline is, a groan that sounded like a T-Rex with a hot poker in its ass. The original OP is Lost Papaya 9278 and r/Am I the Asshole the 7th of October 2021. Am I the asshole for not accepting my sister's relationship with my ex despite her having cancer as a teenager? My 25 female father married my stepsister's 23 female mother when I was 4 and she was 3. We've lived together most of our lives and our family. She and I were extremely close. She developed cancer when she was 14 and was sick for about 2 years. She's since made a full recovery. During that time, my parents became understandably overprotective. They also asked a lot of me. I quit my extracurriculars so I could get a job. The money went towards her medical bills, and so I could drive her to appointments. I didn't go to dances, and any fun activities I did needed to include her. I did almost all of this willingly, the exception being having to quit my high school volleyball team. I did throw a bit of a tantrum about that, but was swiftly punished, and I think having one emotional breakdown was pretty chill, given the circumstances. Anyhow, I go to college and meet my ex. We'll call him Ben when I'm a junior. We fall in love, blah blah blah, he and I move in together when we graduate, so we've been living together for about 3 years. We were serious until July, when I walked into my bedroom and saw him fucking my sister. I broke it off. Tears were shed, he moved out, etc. My sister apologized at first, but then backed off. I thought she was giving me space, but last week she called and asked if we could meet up. She told me that she and Ben were in love, and were just telling me as a courtesy before they started posting photos online. Distraught, I left her in the restaurant by herself and did not pay my portion of the bill. She later Venmo'd me, asking for the money. She told my parents, who then called me to their house, telling me how disappointed in me they are for not supporting my sister's relationship with Ben. They brought up the fact that because she had cancer as a teenager, she never learned proper social etiquette and has a hard time meeting people. I don't buy this. In part because I've seen her socialize just fine, and since we spent a good chunk of the time she was sick together, that would also mean that I should have bad social skills as well, by that logic. They then told me that if I don't accept my sister and Ben's relationship, they may have to go no contact with me. I reminded them that I'm also their daughter, and they should understand my point of view, but they're adamant that this is about me being jealous of her. For the record, I'm not jealous of her. I'm not upset that Ben picked her over me. I am sad about the end of the relationship and do feel betrayed, but Lord knows that I don't want to be with a cheater. What I'm upset about is the fact that my sister chose Ben over me, that she slept with Ben knowing he and I were in a long-term committed relationship and continues to be with him knowing how much it hurts me. Now, no one in my immediate family is talking to me and I'm getting messages from aunts and uncles and cousins telling me that I'm the asshole and a selfish bitch. Edit, thank you everyone so much for your comments. This has gotten more attention than I expected and I'm having trouble keeping up. So if I don't say thank you, then thank you. I've been given a lot of food for thought. To be honest, while I've had moments where I've been resentful or upset about my teenage years, I've always thought that I did the right thing for my sister and for my family. And that time wasn't all miserable. I was very close to my sister and we made things as fun as we could. But I don't think of it as an abdication of my parents' responsibilities or that they were doing wrong by me, which many of you pointed out. I definitely have a lot to think about. Thank you again for making me feel less crazy about all of this. Update. Sometimes you can only laugh. Just got off the phone with my cousin who saw this post and said he could explain a few things. I asked him why he was on Reddit instead of school. He asked me why I was on Reddit instead of work. And I said touché. He told me that after my conversation with my mom, she went to his house and talked to my aunt. And here's the deal. Turns out, my sister is not only in a relationship with Ben, but 4 months pregnant, which means she and Ben were fucking for longer than I had even guessed. Apparently, my parents are so adamant that I forgive her because I'm already ruining their experience of their first grandchild. That's right, I'm less important than my stepmom posting ultrasounds to Facebook. This is where we're at. Anyhow, I called out of work sick the rest of the day and am going to drink a lot of alcohol. Like, a lot of alcohol. And then start thinking about what the fuck I'm going to do. Update. Am I the asshole for not accepting my sister's relationship with my ex despite her having cancer as a teenager? October 6th, 2021. About a week after. I was asked for an update, and thus, here I am. 2 things to clarify before I update. I didn't have a shitty childhood. The favoritism started when my sister was diagnosed. I moved out soon after, and have been pretty independent since then. Not saying that how my parents treated me during those years were A-okay, but I wasn't Cinderella. I did not drink myself into oblivion. I had 2 white wine spritzers, but I appreciate the concern from folks. Anyhow, the update. I got in touch with my sister and asked her to meet up again at a park. No bill involved. I asked her if she was pregnant, and she told me the truth. She said she wanted us to still be in each other's lives and that she wanted me to be in her babies. A Redditor, and I forgot who, I'm sorry, mentioned that she may ask me to be the godmother, and that person was correct. But as many of you pointed out, if I didn't cut her off, I'd just become her bank and daycare employee. So I told her I could no longer be in her life. And I left her crying on a park bench and felt like the shittiest person in the world. I emailed my parents and told them how betrayed I felt and that I'd be cutting off contact with them. To my stepmom's credit, she apologized. She explained that she never thought my sister would live to have kids and that she let her emotions over that get the better of her. Understandable. My dad said nothing, which is honestly what sucked the worst about all of this. Ben tried messaging me from a burner account for the first time since the breakup, but I blocked him without reading it. I didn't go nuclear and post the story to Facebook, as some suggested, but I sent an email to the extended family members who I care about. I explained the situation and how I'd be distancing myself from the family. Some have made it an us versus them situation, and as much as I appreciate the support, feeling like I'm in some valiant battle just makes me more tired. So I haven't been talking to much of anyone in my family. I feel lonely and crappy, but I think I made the right decision. Anyhow, not the most exciting update in the world, but hopefully everyone knows that I'm not dead. I do really appreciate the support I've gotten. It made me smile during a really shitty time. And hey, if anyone in the greater Boston area wants an extra guest at Thanksgiving, let me know. Too Long Didn't Read ended up cutting off family. People wanted an update. November 24th, 2021. Hi, some people were interested in an update, so I'm spending Thanksgiving with a friend and her family, so I won't be alone. Thanks to everyone who offered to host me, it was so sweet. I'm still not in touch with my family, but I know that Ben and my sister are having problems. I know this because he showed up at my place and cried for 3 hours. I'm going to New Mexico in April. Planning is underway. Happy Thanksgiving to those who celebrate. Next update, January 1st, 2022. I think my 26 female, old ex, 26 male, sabotaged my relationship with my new ex. To make a long story short, my 26 female breakup last summer with ex1, 26 male, was volcanic. He's now expecting a baby with my stepsister within the next 6 weeks or so. So, I found out about the pregnancy. He's tried to get in touch with me 6 times through email, text, and burner accounts, has tried to get mutual friends to talk to me for him, and showed up to my place once. The latter was the only time I humored him. He told me he was sorry, he loves me, he doesn't want to be with my stepsister, and wants to get back together with me. I told him tough titties. He made his bed, and now he's gotta lie in it with her. I haven't dated much since July because of my life's implosion, but in November, a friend from college messaged me out of the blue. We haven't talked in a long time. He, 27 male, referenced to as X2 for the rest of this post, and X1 were good friends, but had a falling out over something fantasy football related the year after we graduated, and I stopped talking to him out of solidarity, or whatever. Anyhow, we go on a date. We click, we go on a few more dates, we become exclusive in early December. I was feeling really hopeful about this until this morning. I was supposed to meet X2 at a New Year's party last night. He got there before I left the house and texted me saying that X1 was at the party and asked whether I still wanted to come. I declined and went to another friend's house and had a pretty good time. I tried calling X2 at midnight, but he didn't pick up. I didn't think much about it. Anyhow, I go to bed late, and when I wake up this morning, I have a message from X2 saying we're done. I couldn't even respond because he'd blocked me everywhere. I talked to a friend who was at the party the exes were at last night, and he said the two of them had spent a good chunk of the time chatting with each other, but he didn't know what they were talking about. I'm not close with anyone else who was at the party, so I don't really have anyone else to ask. Okay, it was a 2-month-old relationship, I'm sad, but I'm not bereft. But the paranoid part of my mind is really concerned that X1 said something that resulted in X2 becoming X2. X2 has made it abundantly apparent that he didn't want to talk to me again, and I don't want to push that boundary. But I'm so confused. I could contact X1, but I get the feeling that will open up a floodgate of drama. I could also try talking to other mutual friends to see if they've heard anything, but I also don't really want to spread this as a rumor if it wasn't true. I don't know. I'm at a loss. Any advice here? I'm spiraling thinking that my ex is going to try to ruin every relationship I have for the rest of my life. Too long didn't read. After a conversation with an old ex-boyfriend, my new ex-boyfriend broke up with me. I'm afraid that the old ex-boyfriend said something to him, and I'm worried he'll do it again in the future. Update, January 16th, 2022. I'm beginning to think that there's something wrong with me. My last 2 partners have cheated on me. The first was a very serious relationship. We lived together, we talked about marriage and buying a house. He even took 2 pictures of us as kids and photoshopped them together to show what our kids might look like one day. The result was terrifying but hilarious, and I had it as the background of my phone for a month. I walked in on him sleeping with my stepsister. She's now pregnant, due in the near future, and he's with her. I know he's not happy. I know he regrets what he did. I know that he loved me. And none of that stopped him from fucking my stepsister in our bed. I've spent so long now being upset with her and writing him off as just a bad decision that I wasted time on, but now I find myself mourning what we had. My stepsister and I grew up together and have loved each other most of our lives, so it felt like that was the betrayal. But he and I chose each other. Out of all the people on the earth, we looked each other in the eyes, committed to each other, and made the promise to stay faithful. And he lied. And he lied, and he lied, and he lied. And he let me go on loving him while he lied. And then a few months ago, another guy comes into my life, and for the first time in ages, I felt hopeful. I thought to myself that maybe I could actually move on and live my life. I wasn't in love with him, but he was the kind of man I thought I could fall in love with. We were exclusive for about a month before we made the decision to be exclusive. I told him everything that had happened with my first ex and told him that I could never be with another cheater. I wake up on New Year's Day to a text saying we're done. When I tried to get in touch, I found out he'd blocked me everywhere. Turns out he met someone at a New Year's party and hooked up with her. And instead of telling me, he just blocked me everywhere and sent a lackey to message me a few weeks later with the real story and a half-assed apology. I want to be angry, and maybe a part of me is, but I'm sitting here, I'm just thinking, what if it's me? What if I'm just not lovable? What if it's never going to happen for me? The thing is, I've been a pretty confident person. I went through bullshit as a kid, but I got through it and grew stronger. I'm pretty good looking, though I've admittedly put on a little weight in the past couple weeks. I've been told that I'm fun. I hold down a good job and make decent money. I also live my life according to my values. I've always put my family and partner first because that's just how I believed it should be done, and I thought that I would be prioritized in turn. I've lost most of my family because they'd rather have my stepsister's baby in their life than me. My friends have been fair weather for the most part, and I know that I'm a laughing stock in my friend group as much as they pretend to pity me to my face. I feel the little spark I've always had fading. I don't chime in on conversations anymore. I've stopped putting on cute clothes when I go out. I don't plan anything, so I don't have anything to be disappointed about. Soon, I'll be the same age as my mom when she died. I never knew her, but I've always loved her, thinking of her watching over me. I don't remember the funeral, but it was one of those funerals where there wasn't a dry eye in the house. She lit up a room, people tell me. She was a good woman. In my worst moments, I wonder what it would be like if I died right now. Would anyone cry? Would anyone care? Would anyone even come? Anyhow, sorry for writing a novella. Just not sure what to do anymore and who to talk to. If you read all this, thank you. May 30th, 2022. Update-ish. Hello, folks. I thought that things on the internet died after a couple days, so color me surprised when I still get requests for updates on the regular. Long story short, I don't have much to update. I didn't end up going to New Mexico because I, conveniently, got COVID the week before I was supposed to go. The baby was had, but I have had no contact with the baby or their parents. I have done a pretty good job of insulating myself from news about them / the rest of my family. My life is pretty much the same as it was. So, sorry to the folks who are hoping I have some kind of happy ending to slap onto all of this. Things are improving just because time barrels on and you can grow numb to most anything given enough time and distance. But I have had no grand revelations. I have not met the love of my life, nor had elaborate revenge on those who have wronged me. I am going to Europe for the first time in October though, so that's exciting. I will say this, while I appreciate the solidarity and sometimes colorful language used to describe my sister and Ben in my DMs, I wholeheartedly ask everyone reading this not to waste their energy on hating them. They're now parents to a newborn, and regardless of the things they've done in the past, I hope that they can come together as a happy family and raise their child in a loving, healthy home. Hating them doesn't do anything for anyone, including ourselves in the long run. Anyhow, that's the non-update. I promise that if I meet the love of my life at the top of the Eiffel Tower, or more likely stuffing my face with waffles in Bruges, I will post another update. Until then, you can assume that I'm living, trying my best, and am very appreciative of all the people out there in the world who have read this saga and reached out with support, even if I have not had the energy to respond to everyone. Update in the comments, October 16th, 2022. Hi, just wanted to give a more recent, less depressing update. I am currently in my hotel room in Paris, eating a creme brulee in bed, reading a romance novel, and about to go to bed early. All is well. The 9th of September, 2023. 11 months later. Howdy, it's been a while. Hello, so it's been a minute, but I still get messages from folks asking how I've been, and I'm up too early and a little bored, so I thought I'd give you the answer. I'm good. Made a lot of really positive changes in my life, and I am in a much better place, physically and mentally, than I was last year. To answer some specific questions, no, I'm not in contact with my family. The last straw was in spring of 2022. My dad emailed me to ask if we could get lunch and talk. Me, having always harbored this secret and foolish hope that we'd reconcile and go back to normal, agreed. I arrived at the restaurant and waited 2 hours. When my server gave me a free dessert in the house with a pitying look, I called it and went home. Later, I got an email from my stepmom, which I'm sure was full of excuses, but I didn't read it. But the really positive outcome of that was that it made me realize that I needed to move far away and not come back, which I did. I'd always been really scared to move away from my family, but since I don't have one anymore, I ended up somewhat spontaneously moving halfway across the country. The spontaneous move was stressful and expensive, but I can now say that moving was one of the best decisions of my life. I ended up reconnecting with an old friend and falling in with her friend group, who are the loveliest people. I've never felt safer or more supported, and I feel so lucky to have them in my life. And it's less humid here. That's a big win. One of our friends is a counselor who helped me find a therapist that I really click with, and it took a few tries and a therapist who didn't immediately want to do CBT with me. I'm guessing there's a different definition for CBT that I am entirely unaware of, because in the circles that I frequent, CBT means something very different. According to Google, it's cognitive behavioral therapy. In my circles, it's cock and ball torture. So, I'm glad that OP was not, in fact, dealing with therapists trying to do CBT with them, and it was instead cognitive behavioral therapy. That makes far more sense. Anyways. want to do CBT with me, which just isn't my thing, but I found someone I really connect with. I'm now doing IFS therapy, and it's really changed my relationship with myself and helped me realize all of the hurt and pain I've been holding on to and start to heal. So, y'all were right, and I needed to go to therapy. Give yourselves a pat on the back for that one. I also got diagnosed with depression and am taking medicine for that. It was a bit hard to stomach as someone who always saw her value as being the happy person who takes care of everyone all the time, but it turns out that sometimes when your needs aren't met as a kid, you end up becoming the happy person who takes care of everyone all the time because you're afraid that if you show the slightest bit of unhappiness, you won't be loved anymore. And that's fucked up. I also met a guy, and I know you're all saying, "Papaya, no! Your decision-making around men cannot be trusted!" But I assure you that he's different. Instead of rolling his eyes when I'm feeling off, he'll either just quietly lay on the couch with me or go for a walk. Or he'll say really dirty things to me in his spot-on Kermit the Frog voice until I'm laughing so hard I can't focus on anything else. And bonus! He's far too busy painting D&D minis. That is true. As someone who paints miniatures. He's far too busy painting D&D minis to find the time to cheat on me, so I'm not even worried about that. I did have to invest in a somewhat elaborate Renaissance fair costume, which is not something I had imagined for myself. But I'm having a great time. I'm gonna marry this dude someday. As for Ben and my sister, as far as I know, they're still together. Every so often, she tries to get in touch with some manner of burner account, but I ignore all of it. I'm still bummed that I'm not going to be a part of my nibbling's life, and I do, honestly, still really miss my family. But I know this is right for me. Sorry I don't have any salacious info on them, since I know you're all really here to hear about their karmic downfall or whatever. But on my end, things are good. Better than they were before I found out I was being cheated on. My current life is built on real contentment, not fear disguised as shallow happiness. It's not perfect, and I have a lot of problems that I'm working through, but I'm proud of myself, and I think my mom would be too. So that's the update. I think it's going to be the last one, at least on this account. Thanks Reddit for supporting me and making me smile through some of the worst, weirdest points in my life. May you too be blessed with internet strangers who cheer you on and offer to sabotage the lives of people who do you wrong. Comments. I think it's going to be my last one, at least on this account. We need more juice. I hope you will keep posting about your life when you get married or have kids. I'm so happy for you. A few days ago while scrolling through Reddit, I randomly remembered your post and was thinking, what's going on? I'm so sorry your deadbeat dad failed you, but don't worry. He will have his wake-up call someday. I hope that shitty family of yours is blocked. As for Ben and your stepsis, I have a tinge of feeling that the reason she's trying to contact with you is because she messed up with Ben. I'm glad you're doing therapy. I wish you nothing but endless happiness and joy. I hope you build a nice family with that guy and have children with him, or not, whatever you decide. As much as I want to get tea from your evil stepsis, it is good that you do not have any information about her or Ben. The further you stay away from them, the better. I am wondering why the stepsister is still bothering to contact OP. Like, what does she need? Money? Probably just wanting to reestablish the relationship so she can feel good about herself. Like, see, we can still talk. What I did wasn't that bad. Too bad for her. There are some things you just can't come back from. I wonder if these were supposed to be multiple comments and not just one scattered train of thought. Either way, a little update. May 19th, 2024. I'm engaged. And OP comments on when told not to contact her family. Wasn't planning to, but they already found out because the internet is a menace. My dad's apparently having a total hissy fit because my fiance didn't ask his permission. Oh well. Sucks to suck, I suppose. Damn, imagine being a terrible father and then, like, standing your daughter up, not having her back, making excuses for your stepdaughter for how she stole your daughter's boyfriend, never apologizing or trying to see things from her point of view, letting her go no contact and not making a single attempt to have any conversation, and in fact, it's the stepmother who's actually putting an effort to at least attempt to apologize at times, and you just have, like, pretty much no vocal interest of maintaining a relationship with your daughter, but then when she gets engaged, you throw a hissy fit because he didn't ask for the permission of the estranged father that doesn't seem to give a single shit about his daughter. Oh, boo fucking who, man. Also, I'm very happy that this entire saga had just an incredibly happy ending. And she ending up with a nerd who would rather go to Renaissance fairs and paint miniatures than be a complete dick. Ladies, that's the kind of guy you gotta find yourself. One that's too distracted with the lore of his current D&D miniatures and going to the Ren Fair than he is with icky women and their cooties. This post was collected by Choice Evidence 1983, and their tagline is, "It dawned on me that he was a wizard." The original OP is Cobbler Recent 6797, posted to r/am_I_the_asshole. Posted November 16th, 2025. Am I the asshole for threatening my marriage over a dog? Long story short, we recently had some electrical issues that nearly caused a house fire. We're waiting for a contractor to come and look at it and fix the problem. The wall that got fried is where the washer plugs in, so it's pretty important. My husband found boarding for our 12-month pointer with his ex-wife. Not a major issue. Our dogs get along, and at least she'll watch her, and she'll be relatively safe. I agree to this, so I'm not mad about that part. Although, I am mad we moved her so soon without a timeline for repairs, and there was a ton of tears from the kids. We both work, so an unsupervised pup with strangers or an open wall is not gonna work. What I'm mad about is apparently his former sister-in-law saw the dog and fell in love with her, and asked to have her. Just like that. So entitled. He's considering giving away my dog so he doesn't have to deal with her. I walk and feed her along with the help of the kids and trained her. She is an intelligent and clever dog and the kids love her. My 1-year-old says woof woof for dog almost as much as he says mom. We are all she has known. She's a rescue and we got her 5 months. I'm outraged he would just betray me and the children and go behind our backs because he doesn't want a dog. She's a gun dog and due to start training with me since it's deer season and the kids love her and she runs with my oldest. I don't have a full means of getting a hold of his ex. We rarely talk but use social media now that she's hosting my dog. I even paid her and offered up any extra food or toys, so I'm just kind of in the dark and waiting right now. Am I the asshole for threats to leave him if he does something so underhanded and gives away the family dog without consulting me or the kids? The comments voted OP to be not the asshole. Commenter 1, not the asshole. And what the fuck is wrong with your husband and his ex-sister-in-law? I mean, what type of person just asks for someone else's pet? Is she deranged? And the fact that your husband is so willing to just hand it over is throwing up massive red flags about him. He sounds deranged too. OP responds, my sister says it's just a dog and I'm taking it too far. But my house is all she's ever known, and she is very much loved and wanted. I just didn't want her in a kennel, and my husband has a 15-year-old with his ex, so the dog is familiar company and getting hugs, so I'm happy there. But the entitlement to be like, I want it, has just floored me. This issue caused a fight last night, and I have to wait to get a hold of the landlord to get an unpaid timeline and repairs to squash this. Commenter 2, quoting the original comment, what type of person just asks for someone else's pet? Is she deranged? My money says that he expressed not wanting/liking the dog, to which she offered to take the dog. Perfectly reasonable on her part, really. But at that point, he realizes that he's got a wife and kids who may not be keen on giving the dog away. He's between a rock and a solution, from his perspective. OP responds, that's possible. On our end, he was excited to get the dog, like little kid on Christmas morning excited. And we talked about it for over a month. Walked the shelter, met her, talked it over for another week, and a rent-a-rover, so didn't just suddenly go get a dog. We picked specifically, brought her home, gave her a name. I mean, this dog tolerated a toddler shoving his finger in her nose and just turns the other cheek, then gives him loves and all is well. She guards the kids' room at night and they take pride in tending to her. The rest of the family is not on the same page as him. Commenter 3. Had he ever owned dogs before? More to the point, a lot of folks who've never owned dogs before get giddy over the idea, but then reality hits and they find out it wasn't quite what they had in mind. Mind you, I'm not asking about the dog or the family as a whole. I'm asking about him. OP responds, he's had outdoor cats and rodents, rats, as a kid. Commenter 4. He is considering hurting not only you, but your children as well. Actually, the dog itself would be a victim. It is very difficult for a pet to be handed around to different households. Secondary issue includes the fact that you don't know this person and have no way to determine if they have the capacity to take care of the dog or if they might even get tired of having a pet and try to give it away themselves. Not the asshole. Hope he responds, right? Should we just hand off the kids if they have a bad day? Like, what the hell? And I'm 90% sure she'd just be loose in the country to join a pack of feral dogs. And my girl is too good and soft for that. She'll protect her kids, but she wouldn't know what to do in a real fight. She sleeps in the kids' room at night and misses them after an hour apart, and they miss her too. Commenter 5. Not the asshole. That is your dog, and you should get it back at some point. This is totally a good reason to leave. OP responds, my husband claims I'm being unreasonable and even wanted me to surrender her before his ex agreed to keep her. Not only that, but I paid out of my own pocket here, not family funds. Nothing wrong with kennels, I'd just rather her be someplace familiar with at least one familiar face and a dog she has a history with. Commenter 7. This is such weird behavior. Has he ever done anything this weird before? Given away something important to you or sabotaged you in any way? Is this completely out of the blue? It feels like something else is going on, or there has to be something more to the story. OP responds, this would not be the first time something this drastic has happened, from rehoming a house cat to disabling my career opportunity. Editor's note, the update body text was saved before OP made the same edits to both original and update posts. Update, November 16th, 2025, same day, 3 hours later. I literally just got the most cryptic message from my husband. Me and the kids are not home right now, we're visiting a relative for dinner. He said, I tried to work a deal, but bitch wants to play around. Me, huh? Him, huh? Me, I didn't understand your message. Him, apparently she wants to keep the dog forever. I asked what happened and asked if it had anything to do with his daughter, my stepdaughter. He told me to stop being a bad person and said I was jealous of a child and won't answer my phone calls. I'm trying to discreetly get in touch with him and his ex and my stepdaughter, but my husband won't answer my calls. I'm honestly suspecting the dog's been moved without my knowledge. Update 1. I got some cryptic messages from my husband. Some weird things were said. A fight ensued, and I believe he gave his ex permission to have my dog about 3 hours ago. I got a hold of his ex and had her send me a video, the time of day matched, so I'm a bit more calm. I notified her that I'd be over tomorrow. I'm trying to avoid conflict plus give her a chance to set things right. I also informed her that I will call the police if need be. I honestly already got a hold of them and they were no help for various reasons, so it might become a civil matter. She's been informed to not even walk her and keep her in the designated area until I arrived. I'm trying to keep the kids out of this and plan to do all this while they go to school. I got a hold of a few friends and have a family of fellow hunters willing to house her for free upon hearing the story and for as long as we need. She knows the family, but not their dog, but I'm hopeful it'll go well. As for my husband, he's denying everything and takes no fault in this. I've decided to stay at my parents' tonight and informed him that we will have a talk about this, and however that talk goes, we'll decide what comes next for us moving forward. Also, he is on her adoption record, but I am listed on everything else. Update 2. Monday. Dog was retrieved. She was very happy, very clingy. Apparently, it was stressful all around. Took dog and kids to my parents for a few days. The family that agreed to help is meeting us this weekend for camping and the handoff. Kinda sucks the reunion is so short, kids have school. But we will be spending Thanksgiving with them, and home repairs are projected to be completed the following week. My husband seems unhappy about the fights we had with no apology in sight or explanation. He's acting like this never happened. Also, for those asking, yes, the dog is rather expensive, not a mutt. So legally, this could have been a theft punishable by big fines or jail time. Also, her monetary value is of zero importance to me. But for the few who are saying it's just a dog, imagine if your spouse took a couple $1,000s from your joint account, or your car, or Xbox, or jewelry, and just gave it to some stranger. Would you be mad then? And I am on all our paperwork. Relevant comments. Commenter 1. Why didn't you get your house cat back when it happened the first time? OP responds, okay, so now we're asking the real questions here. Point blank, I was young, 24, dumb, newly married, and didn't have kids yet, and allowed him in the end to have things his way due to allergies. So, what? He sneezed a bit. My cat was 16, totally an indoor cat, and I had her entire life. Literally, her mother dropped her on my feet less than an hour after she was born. But I gave in after a lot of me yelling at a wall. I justified it by meeting the family and their kids, and she eventually ran off to die. So I never saw her again, or even recovered her body. I cry over this sometimes, but to him, it's just a cat. So yes, I blatantly overlooked this red flag to try and keep the peace in a new marriage and listen to what idiots told me. The account was later deleted, and this post is being marked inconclusive, so we have no way to know what might end up happening in the future here. I think my biggest input on this one is that if you're ever in a position where you're in a relationship and your significant other is asking you to give up your pet for the relationship to continue, that's not someone that you want to be living with. That's not someone you want to be dating. Unless your pet is an actual menace to society and the safety to those around you, there aren't many good reasons for you to have to give up a member of your family for your significant other. Yes, I'm sure you in the comments, you can definitely point out several edge cases, but in general, I personally find it to be a red flag if you're dating someone and one of the requirements for you dating them is that you get rid of your pet. That just doesn't sit right with me. Don't forget, today we're launching the 3 opossums in a trench coat blush. Coming live and yeah. But you should definitely buy this blush. It is totally not 3 opossums in a trench coat. Totally not. You should definitely allow this completely non-conspicuous, oddly shaped, distinguished gentleman into your home, who will certainly not lay claim to your pantry. This is in fact 3 opossums in a trench coat who will in fact lay complete desolation to your fridge, pantry, and potentially garbage. On sale now!